Do we have to rename it A Bottle with Billy?
A bottle with
I feel
Billy?
like we always have bottles now, we don't have glasses.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Glass with Billy, or I guess we should say...
Yeah, it's not a bottle with
a bottle with Billy. What do you have?
We have Mogu Mogu. It's like a Thai, I think it's from Thailand. So my favorite flavor is the lychee flavor.
I wanted lychee,
Yeah,
but to
Billy
be different, I got peach.
Yeah.
I don't know what's inside of it. They're like
It has like little jellies. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's really good. Okay, I didn't introduce you yet.
Yeah, who am I?
Today I'm joined by...
I'm Forrest. I am American, just like Billy, and I study at Sogang University, which is where we are. I study psychology, English language and literature, and education.
So then you're here in Korea, you're studying at the university, but you're not studying as a foreign language student here, you're just studying as a regular student at the university.
Yeah, not an exchange student and not a language school student. Like, you also have to remember that language schools are actually not a part of the actual school.
They're just located at the school.
Yeah, they're located in the school, but they actually aren't technically affiliated.
So then how many of your classes are in Korean, or how much of your studies is done in Korean?
It really depends on your... Oh, there's a cat.
Oh, there's another, yeah. Let me film it so I can put it in the video.
It's not the same one from last time, right?
I don't think so.
I think the other one was kind of more like golden yellow.
Yeah. This one's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I saying? It really depends on your major. Even though I'm studying English language and literature, actually half of my classes are in Korean. The professor will lecture in Korean, and then we'll have obviously discussions about the text, and so we'll discuss in Korean about the text. So it's not like talking about the latest, K-drama that came out this month and you're just talking with your friends about it casually. You have to provide evidence and speak logically, right? Make sure you're not just saying a bunch of stuff that makes no sense.
So then give me a really quick summary. How did you learn Korean?
That is really hard, actually.
Okay, well then let's ask something else then. So you've been learning Korean for how long?
I guess almost 9 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, I practice and use the language for 9 years.
What would you say 3 of the most important things for you have been in learning?
First, practicing and using the language.
Okay.
You need to know grammar, vocabulary. You need to understand how the language works, right, as a non-native speaker. At the same time, I feel like the language education that I experienced, from a young age, was just all using a textbook and not learning what I wanted to learn, and then also not communicating with actual native speakers.
Okay.
So for me, doing language exchange and actually communicating with native speakers and making Korean friends, that was the most motivating and the biggest reason for me to just keep studying and learning and using the language, I think.
So what's the second thing?
Okay, second, I think, is really trying to sort of revolve not your entire life, most of your day or a good majority of your day around just Korean, in any sort of way, whether it's just listening to something, reading something, texting your friend, asking them what they ate for lunch, anything like that. All of those different sort of materials and stuff, right, that we use to learn. While using that, I would also study grammar, study vocab, right? Yeah, you can't obviously sleep and learn Korean, right? You got to put in the work. So, but I think really just trying to do that, especially because if you're going to be an international student, that's basically what your life becomes. You kind of have to give up on thinking in your native language, and you have to start thinking in Korean because there's no time to think in English. You have other classes to prepare for, you have other assignments. You have to just get into that sort of routine of just being able, we've talked about, thinking in Korean.
Do you have a third thing then?
Since this is more about international students, before coming to Korea, try and listen to lectures for the major that you want to do.
Okay.
The lecturing style can be very different from what you're used to in wherever you're from.
Did you have any shock when you were starting your classes in Korean?
Yes. I literally questioned myself and I was like, what did I get myself into? Why am I here? I am not this level. I had just finished level 5 at like Sogang for language school. I made a lot of friends at language school, and so 2 of my friends also got into Sogang for undergrad. And so we're like, oh, we have to take these general ed classes. So we're like, oh, at least we can like take
those together.
And so the only class that was available was modern Korean history. None of us have studied Korean history ever. We were really worried about that class. But the nice thing about that first semester and that professor specifically is that she would actually take the time to, like, after class to answer our questions. Anything that we didn't understand, she would like simplify. So while listening to online lectures, there's tons of online lectures on YouTube. While doing that, practice note-taking. Like practice like either taking notes or handwritten or typing, whatever. And then also kind of practice like choosing when to take notes in Korean and when to sort of just roughly translate into your native language. Like if it's a really confusing concept, I would sometimes just write it quickly in English. But if it was kind of simple and I understood it completely, I would just write it almost exactly the way my professor wrote. But practicing that is like, I think, a really good skill to have.
So then let's transition. Do you like my transition?
Yeah, let's transition.
To school in Korea. So give me a step-by-step for how someone can get into Korean university as a student.
So the first step, do your research. And like not just the university you want to go to, Google like the program itself, like the major you want to do. In general, most schools will have the main website, but then they'll have the department website. And so often under the department that you're interested in and like the major within that department, they'll have like actually like specific classes that are needed to graduate.
And then next would be apply?
I always recommend people to go to language school beforehand, because
at the school that they're thinking of going to, or
that is actually pretty helpful because you're kind of somewhat in the system, right? Even though they're not affiliated with each other, they're like, oh, okay, you came to our school.
They'll have people to help you out.
Yeah, I had to submit an extra document, and actually at our language school, the admissions office is actually in the same building. So I just went down and they're like, oh, we need you to get this. And so I was like, okay. It helps too that like when you get recommendation letters, you can ask your teachers from language school to write recommendation letters for you. But yeah, going to language school, one, just to kind of make sure that your Korean is at a decent enough level, and then 2 is to be sure that Korea is like kind of right for you.
Many people might want to go to Korea but don't seem to have a clear reason why.
Yeah.
That's fine. They might come to Korea and they love it, or they come to Korea and they realize, wait, I don't like this or I love this, and you're not really going to know that until you've actually visited Korea for, how long does someone have to be here before they realize if they love it or hate it?
I think it changes over time. I think the longer you're here, almost the worse it gets.
Really?
Because you start to realize more issues. You know, we might think everything is so like glamorous and like amazing because of Korean dramas and stuff like that. I'll tell you now, it's not. Some parts can be, but in general, it tends not to be.
Though I guess if someone comes here for language school only, that should be enough time for them to decide if they want to stay in Korea.
Obviously, don't come for just like 1 term either. That's just like 4 months. I would at least come here for like 2 terms if you can.
But if someone comes here for like a week to see if they'll like it, they're not really gonna.
You're never like, if you just come here for like vacation as a tourist, that is totally different from like living here. Like it's not just like your school life, but like your daily life where you have to deal with, you know, when you're sick, you have to like help yourself all the time.
So then first someone wants to do language school to figure out if they even want to do it.
Yeah.
Then they research the school. Yeah. Then they apply?
Yeah, then you would want to apply while you're going to language school, most likely, because like you're here, and it's easier to change your visa. Yeah, then you would apply, basically. Just really make sure you know which documents that you need as well. Sometimes the schools may be different. In general, it's pretty much the same, but yeah.
What sorts of documents are they definitely going to need?
So like first, like your bank statement.
Just to prove that you have money to pay for school.
Yeah, and you're not coming here to work. Either your high school or previous university transcript. And then you also have to get those notarized as well. And then also remember too, if you're not from an English-speaking country and your documents are in a different language besides English or Korean.
You'll have to get those translated and also,
yeah,
is that notarized as well?
Yes, there's that, and then...
This is like, I just have to say, this is like ridiculously good. I think this might be the first time I've completely finished a drink during a glass with Billy. So, what's it like attending school? Favorite thing? Worst thing?
Should we start with the worst?
Go ahead.
Making friends.
Making friends? Why?
Especially like my first semester, everyone already has their sort of group of friends. Like that's just really common in Korea, especially considering that Korea is still pretty collectivistic, like in terms of society. They really like their in groups.
So you're gonna only meet more friends typically by being introduced to someone from someone else you already know.
Or joining some sort of group.
That's how I've seen some success.
Yeah.
Is from like joining hobby groups, and then you're kind of forced to meet other people, and then of those people you meet, you can kind of pick to see if there's anyone you get along well with.
So for me, the easiest way I actually made friends was during group projects, because like we have to meet outside of class, and then after we like meet up, often you go out to eat, right? And then you start talking and like...
That's funny though, you'd say that it's easier to make friends in group projects. That's usually in the US where we make enemies.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, that does happen too. And that does sometimes happen, even here.
So you've said the worst thing, then what would be the best thing?
I've met a lot of very understanding professors. They've like allowed me to actually like write my paper in English, like even write my exam in English if it's like a written exam, things like that. Because they know like for me to write in Korean by hand in an hour.
That's hard to write as much as a native Korean could
even
do.
For a native Korean. Even though I didn't like ask, even after all this time, now I'm really realizing, okay, like my grade is also important. And obviously I can do it in Korean, but the quality is going to, obviously like suffer.
So really understanding teachers, I could see how that would be a pro.
If you need help or anything, like pretty much they're always open. I feel like in the US, I didn't feel that as much. So they're really approachable.
Any other really great things about attending school in Korea that stand out?
It's really nice to be able to just experience a different education system. In the West, obviously we memorize stuff and things like that, but it's not the main part of education. Whereas like in Korea, memorization is...
That's all you need.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
I'm still pretty bad at memorization, but I feel like it helped me by going through the school system here. Like I've gotten better, at least.
So then the last question I have for you is, would you recommend people who are interested in Korea and Korean to come live in Korea and attend school? Let's say at least as an international student.
I think you need a really solid reason to study here, and the main reason should be because you want to like work here. It's really important to be like, okay, if I study in Korea, what do I want to do that's going to be helpful within Korea specifically? Especially most people that come to study here, right? They're kind of like, oh, I want to live in Korea. Well, then you need to like work and do other stuff to actually live here. And school is just one step of that. But yeah, I think it's really important to also consider like, okay, like if I am to major in this, later on, what can I do?
All right, so what about you out there? Is there anyone who's interested in studying Korean in Korea, or maybe just studying at a Korean university here? Let me know in the comments what your plans are and what you've been doing to prepare. Thank you for watching. Another special thanks to our guest,
Forrest.
And we will see you again next time. 1, 2, 3.
그럼 다음에 또 봐. Oh, I think it's okay.
You're getting better, yeah.
Oh, finally.
That's pretty good.
After 7 times.